Hello. Did you ever feel like you wanted your internet browser to leave you the hell alone? Did you ever feel like the website you were using was being over helpful or irritatingly in your face, offering you help with stuff that you didn't want help with? Well, you've been using the internet recently. It has become a disaster, and in an instant I'm going to draw this back to feminism, because I think the perception is that women just want things done for them. I can tell you, as a man, I don't like things done for me at all. I hate it. Okay? And I'll give you an example of this. It is a well-known fact that when men are driving, we do every single thing in our power to avoid asking for directions. I do it myself. I do it in the shops. If I need to know where something is, a lot of the time I will do everything in my power to find it for myself first. Why? Because a man's responsibility is to be able to solve problems. And if he can't solve a problem by himself, he gets irritated and uncomfortable. That's an instinctual thing, and it's healthy. The internet, being feminized as it is a highly irritating place for a man to be. I don't like using the internet now. When I first started using the internet, you were left alone. If you made a mistake, it was on you. Not now, not now. Because now, every single thing you could possibly conceive of having done on your behalf is done on your behalf, even when you don't want it. So, this makes me think of when this Copilot thing appeared on my desktop. Well, I disappeared it immediately because I know what it is. AI. First of all, it's not AI, it's just a series of algorithms that are supposed to predict your behaviour. Ooh, I can't think of anything more disgusting and gross. I don't want anything artificial predicting my behaviour, thank you very much. I don't want to be put in a little box and controlled. That is exactly what this feels like. I don't like that. I don't want it, and I reject it completely. I was just searching for something on the internet. I used to spend a good deal of time searching for images, right? I used to do a reverse image search. Sometimes I put together images for projects and things, right? So I look for images, and I try to be quite specific. I try and build images from other source images, right? And anyone who does this knows that you want good imagery. You want to have a breadth of selection to choose from. You want to find the right image. So nowadays I'm using a tool I used to use, which is Google's image search. God. Every time I use it, they've changed it. It's doing all of this automatic stuff I don't need, I don't want, and it's exactly the same. Have you ever been doing a job and you're doing stuff, you're busy doing it, and someone says, "Oh, can I do that for you?" Or they start reaching in to try and take control. Hey, do you know how irritating that is? And that's what the internet is like. Okay, the internet is now designed, I think, to target, I would say, weaker-willed women. Okay. Women who are just like, "Oh, okay, I don't know what I'm doing." Oh. And that's not all women, okay? I'm talking about, I would say, the most feminine end of humanity, who are just happy as hell to have everything done for them and don't feel the responsibility that a man normally feels to do things for himself. And yeah, that will extend to some males who behave the same way. It's incredibly dangerous, because if you have things done for you, you're being controlled. It's that simple. If you're dependent, you're controlled. As in the phrase, "Don't bite the hand that feeds you." So you don't want to be fed by other people, you want to be fed by yourself. You want to be able to do your own thing. You want to be responsible for yourself. You want to be solving your own problems. Well, the internet, now, there's an enormous drive to do everything for you. Yeah? I don't want that at all. When I was a youngster in my teens, I used to listen to rap music. I don't listen to it anymore because I think it's a license for whinging. But I used to listen to a particular performer who called himself Ice-T. Okay, and in one of his records, he had an intermission bit whereby there was this an announcer of some kind announcing how everyone had to stay in their homes and remain calm and blah blah blah, and then he at the end of his announcement he said, "At last, everything is done for you." I don't know if you know the record, then you know what I'm talking about. But the point is that it was designed to convey this problem that in our world there are elements who would like to control everything you do, okay? And it's incredibly dangerous, and it's the exact opposite of freedom. Now, freedom carries responsibility. Freedom means you have to do things for yourself. If you have everything done for you, you're screwed. Now, a few years ago, I came across a devout communist, okay? And in a way, I had to respect the guy for how devout he was. But that's as far as it went, because to me, anyone who is anyway, the point is, we had a debate, and the problem is with a communist, you can't have a debate because they don't follow rules of honor and custom or anything like that. Their whole ethos is any means necessary, so they don't follow rules of debate. But this guy ended up, and he was, to be fair in this instance, he was honest. I said, "What? Hang on, you would happily surrender all your freedoms just to be protected, just to be safe in society?" He said, "Yes." I don't know if he was a Romanian. I'm not sure. Now, this is not to say that Romanians feel this way generally. I don't think that's the case. I think that he was, not a good example, but he was happy to sacrifice his freedom, his individual freedom, for what I would describe as an oppressive invasion of everyone's lives to keep him safe from what he felt was a threatening world. Now, I was unable to continue contact with the guy. I simply couldn't continue talking with the guy. And I'm open-minded. I'll give people the time of day. I'll listen to them. I'll hear them out. But that's by the by. The point is that this effort to try and control everything you do is dangerous. Have you recently had these emergency messages come through on your mobile phone, out of the blue, unasked for? It's the United Kingdom's emergency blah blah blah. Someone is preparing for something. What are they preparing for? COVID-2? Who knows? Some other disaster to try and control everyone using their own using the premise of safety. Yeah? We've got to stop this. We have to stop this from the top to the bottom. We need people who are even in positions who see this stuff happening and who aren't quite part of it. And we need people who are actually part of the nonsense, who want to get out of it, to actually stand up against it. We can't allow this to continue. And the reason I say this, not the reason I say this, but here, if you've got any question about this, this should bolster your confidence. Because millions of people in the past died, and in their last breath, they hoped that their sacrifice would preserve the freedoms that we take for granted, yeah? They gave their lives. So I'm not going to give away my freedom, because I would dishonor those people who came before me. And if we have to fight for it again, I will happily fight for it again. That's what life is. We have to fight for this stuff. We have to fight for freedoms. Not this fake fighting for freedom whereby we're part of the problem and going around doing what isn't right, and it's being dressed up as fighting for freedom. No, I mean legitimate, sincere fighting for one's freedom and preserving it. Don't kowtow. Don't give away your freedoms. Don't just allow things to be done for you. And I'd have to say, if I would advise anyone, I'd say do what I do. If the internet offers to do something for you, do it yourself. Go the long way around, because you're better off. At every opportunity, resist this nonsense, because eventually what those who are doing it will try and do is they'll try and make it mandatory, whereby you'll lose all freedom and all independence, and then you'll be a prisoner. We have to fight for this, okay? And again, I'll broaden this a bit. I would say also, never ever watch television. I never watch television, ever. I'm very selective with what media I take in, because television is now poisoned completely. At every commercial break, you are hammered with propaganda images, painting a picture of a society that doesn't exist, to try and condition you to be obedient. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. And I haven't watched television in 20 years. I have, if I'm in a room and the TV is on, I'll just try and make my way out of that room, because it's poisonous. I can barely stand it. And people are exposing themselves to this every day. Do you remember at the same time as the banking collapse? It was about at the same time as the banking collapse, or a bit before that? I say collapse, the banking problem in 2008, the subprime lending crisis. It was about that time. No, hang on. I don't know if it was a bit before that. It might have been at the same time. It was about mid-2000s, right? All of the televisions suddenly tripled in size, right? And went down in price by about 75%. And I reckon that was subsidized to try and make sure that as much information was rammed into people's faces as humanly possible, because you couldn't buy a massive television for less than £1,000, or I don't know what that was in US currency at that time, probably about $1,500. Okay, you could not buy a TV that size for less than that amount. And all of a sudden, overnight, all the televisions were gigantic, and the price went through the floor, where you could pick one up for a couple of £100. And I'm considering the bigger picture of what we see in the world nowadays. The idea that that wasn't subsidized is absurd. It was an attempt, in my opinion, to make sure that every single household had a giant screen in their house, so that they could be bombarded with rubbish to distract them all day long. And look around you. People have these TV screens in their houses, gigantic things, and they're on all the time. So, do you want to be controlled, or do you want to be free? Because there is a big agenda at the moment to slowly encapsulate humanity. And the people who are doing it can't really do it openly. They'd love to do it openly, but they can't. And all you really need to do is to be aware of it and move the hell away from it. See it when it happens and attack it, or get rid of it, or avoid it. And the same is true of when you're using the internet. When they're trying to do everything for you. I know a lady, and she told me the other day, oh, I was looking up something, and there's this, I thought I'd try the autopilot thing, the Microsoft, whatever the hell it is. She was looking something up, and then she finished with it, and it bothered her a few days later, and it started calling her by her name. What is this garbage, invading people's lives like that? What they're trying to do is to try and force it, even though they know people are irritated by it, to try and, they're like, well, we'll make it so it's so normal for people. We'll force it into their psyches. No, guys, it's not going to happen. You're just going to irritate people like me who have control of our own minds. And eventually we're going to whatever we'll do, the point is that we won't be part of the throng that you're trying to control. Anyway, good luck to everybody, and enjoy your days.